With the new tax announcement in Florida, sellers have been rushing to put their house on the market over the past couple weeks. I'm gonna explain if it's really gonna work, if it's a good time to buy, and what is probably going to happen with the real estate market in Florida over the next several months. So hang tight. Now, in case you don't know or haven't heard about the Florida tax change, basically they're allowing residents of Florida to write off $250,000 in homestead exemptions, which will calculate out to about $150 per month in savings. Okay, it'll open up the doors for more people to get more loans, and people will take full advantage of it. Now, the caveat to that is that if you're not a Florida resident by the end of the year, then you have to wait 5 years. So if you're coming to the state to buy a house and you're moving from out of state, if you come here after 2026 and you file for new residency, you'll have to wait 5 years before you'll be able to file for that homestead exemption. Okay, now how does that sound as a home buyer or seller? Does that sound like that actually opens up more market share, or does it restrict certain people that would come here to buy and have to wait? Okay, so you got to think about that as from a strategic standpoint. But the fact of the matter is that what we've seen on the ground in the past couple weeks is that there is a flood of new listings coming on the market. There are people that have been sitting on the sidelines, sellers been sitting on the sidelines for years now, waiting for the right opportunity to put their house on the market. And this is the perceived market opportunity that they've been waiting for. Okay, and we're seeing the listings spike up. We're seeing them spike up over 100 to 150 per week, or offset of the pending transactions, okay, which is a supply and demand offset. We're seeing that take place right now in live time. So if you're buying a house, right, and you look at this information, you go, well, all of a sudden there's going to be more houses on the market. There's going to be people that are interested in selling, and the only consideration you have to do as a buyer is say to yourself, am I going to be competing against more buyers in the market, or is it going to be the same old, and I'm going to have more houses to choose from? Okay. Now, the assumption from all sellers is that with the property tax reduction, the buyers are going to want to flood into the market. They're going to want to pour into the market to take advantage of it, to become residents of Florida before the end of 2026, to take advantage of this steep decline in property taxes. And it's going to be the carrot that breaks the market, that brings the buyers back in. And I have my massive doubts about that. Let me explain why. Number one, the affordability issue in Florida is not just predicated on somebody saving $150 per month. That's not the reason that buyers aren't in the market. They're not in the market because when they calculate out a payment structure on their mortgage, they can't afford to buy a house that they want. The average home is going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. That's what the buyers want. And when you look at what they cost in Florida, it's around $400,000. In order to afford that $400,000, you would need to make around $90,000 per household. And currently, the household income in our state is only about $80,000. So it's simply unaffordable from a pricing standpoint. When you break down, when that obviously the homestead exemption is going to reduce taxes down, but it's not going to offset that affordability by that much to where a buyer can come in, include the fact that they have a bigger homestead exemption, and still be able to afford the home that they want per month. That is not realistic yet. And that's just the way it is. Now, if you think about the fact that a lot of people who come here to buy a house now, they wanted to come here to save on taxes. People from New York, from New Jersey, from California, from Illinois, they move here all the time. And what they're doing when they come to Florida, they really enjoy the fact that they can come here, file homestead, and they can save money on taxes, sell their home up north. They come down here and save it. That will not be the case for these people, because if they do move here and they want to save on their taxes, they won't be able to do that for 5 years. Okay, it will deter a lot of people moving to the state not to pull the trigger, simply because they're not going to save the money that they would have had they been able to file that homestead exemption right off the bat. Okay, until they get their residency, they won't be able to do it. So that extra little addendum in this bill, to me, is a big problem, because it deters people out of the state who want to be residents, who want to take advantage of taxes and cheaper prices in Florida, it deters them from actually moving here. Okay, now number 3, the biggest issue in order to get buyers back in with affordability is not going to be a reduction in tax returns. It's going to be either a reduction in interest rates or it's going to be a reduction in prices. Now, we've seen prices go down a lot over the past couple of years. We've seen them go down on average about 20% across the state, but still, it's still unaffordable. And adding this small benefit for homestead exemptions is not necessarily going to be enough for them to be able to afford the house. But that is not the sentiment that you hear in the news. That is not the ideas that the sellers have. They do not believe that. So right now, what's going on is they're putting their houses on the market thinking that buyers are really going to pour in and take advantage of this. I don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening right now. All I see at the moment is a stagnation with buyers, where there are not a lot of buyers pouring in. There's not a lot of mortgage applications pouring in to try to buy these houses. The pending transactions have stabilized, completely stabilized, and now the listings are starting to outweigh everything. So in an environment where you have low buyer activity, you have low buyer demand, and a lot of listings coming on the market, then you have to assume that prices are going to be under pressure again in the near future. There's going to be a lot of people trying to sell their house. They're going to assume that they can do it because of this tax returns or this tax benefit that they have. And when they realize that this is not the way it's going to go down, that they're not going to get the benefits that they thought they were going to get, they're not going to get the buyers they thought they were going to get, and they're not going to get the prices they were going to get, either A, they have to decide whether to pull their house off the market, or B, they have to lower the price, which is what's been going on for the past several years. And right now we're seeing just about every house in every category competes with, anywhere from 5 to 8 houses. We're starting to see that creep up. And when you put your house on the market and you're competing with 10 to 15 homes at a time, you have a very hard time selling your house. And we're starting to see the numbers slowly creep up to that. And if interest rates don't go down quickly, which will give buyers more affordability, if we don't see mortgage applications come up quickly, then it's very, very clear to me that with the amount of listings that are coming on the market over the course of the next several weeks, over the course of the next several months, there's going to be too many listings out there, too much supply for all the buyers, the demand to buy up. And when that takes place, when that happens, we'll be right back in the same situation we've been in for the past several years, which is not enough buyers and too many homes for them to pick out from. And what they do is they pick out the nicest home and they lowball everybody, or they pick up, or everybody in general has to lower their price to try to get a buyer in the property to entice them to even consider making an offer. And those offers come in and they come in super low. So that's what it looks like will take place over the course of the next several weeks and several months. But that's all speculative. We'll see. We need a little bit more data coming in. But right now, the way it sits in live time, we don't see anything indicating that there's a lot of buyers pouring into the market. We don't see any benefit with this, other than people who own their homes with this new homestead exemption. We're not seeing that happen. We're not seeing that take place yet. So stick with me. We'll keep you posted on Florida market. But right now, it looks like we're entering back into a phase where prices are going to be under pressure, listings are going to start going up, and buyer demand is going to stay low. And if you think about the fact that since 2023, only about 1 in every 3 homes has sold, there's a lot of sellers sitting on the sidelines waiting for this opportunity to put their house on the market. And it looks like a lot of that pile of people that didn't sell their house, thinking that they're going to get more money, are starting to put their house on the market. And it's just not playing out that way, not yet. So I'll keep you guys posted. And of course, we live and work in real estate every day, all day. That's all we do, is look at this stuff, making sure that our clients in this area get a full overview of what's going on. So if you live, work, or looking to buy and sell in the Tampa Bay area, the Tampa Bay region, we would love to hook you up. All right, take care, guys.